Sage and Stone Homestead. If you are new here, my name is Heather. Welcome to my farm. This is my kitchen. We are done with the garden season. Pretty much I have a lot growing in our greenhouse, but this time of year, it's our meat harvest time. We focus a lot on proteins in the fall and winter, and today is goat processing day. So I'm not going to be showing a whole lot of the process. This is just more a vlog of what's actually going on today, because usually there's not just one thing going on this farm. Actually, behind me you can see kind of a spread of things that I have been working on just in the last 36 hours. So over here I have rendered some beeswax. I canned up some blueberry pie filling to free up some space in our freezer, and we canned up some of our hams from our own pigs. Now off of that ham came quite a bit of extra fat, and so I've got that rendering down here for lard. And today the main project besides the goats is persimmons. I found a persimmon tree literally across the street from our farm, but I want to go over there and check for more ripe persimmons. Before we do that though, I need to get dinner going. We have kind of a fun rule here on our homestead, and I've seen other homesteads do this too, but on meat processing day, we don't cook or eat any of that type of meat. So let's say we were processing rabbits today, we wouldn't have rabbit all day. And so because we're processing goat, we won't have goat today, which is fine. I mean, I don't have a choice because I'm completely out of goat. So today I am cooking a shoulder roast from our pork. It's actually a picnic roast. So the roast that I have right here, it doesn't have the skin on it. It is bone in, and there's quite a lot of fat on it. I did trim off some of it in order to put in our lard pot over there, because kunis are technically a lard pig. You get lots and lots of lard off of a kuni. And so there was way more on there than really needed to be on there. But I did want to leave quite a bit of fat on there. This is going to melt down into the meat and make it super tasty. This is a bone-in roast. I like to pat the meat dry. I feel like it helps the seasonings stick a little bit better. I've got one of my favorite seasonings in the world right now, this farm dust. Season it really well. Granulated garlic. And I am gonna score this fat a little bit, so I'm gonna put some cuts into it, and this is gonna help the fat render down into the meat a little bit. And it's also not going to allow the top to curl upward. The recipe that I'm using says to put a little bit of broth in the bottom of the pan, and it also says that we don't need to put it on a roasting rack, so I haven't done that. But I also am not going to be using broth. The broth that I made recently, I let simmer for way too long, and it's actually kind of bitter. It's a little bit sad, but I'm just going to use water. The juices from the roast are going to drip down into the pan, and it's going to create its own broth so that we can make our own gravy later. So at 50 minutes per pound for a 7-pound roast, this is going to be cooking for almost 6 hours. So let's go do all the other things that we've got to do today. Oh, you used my tallow bag.
Yeah.
What was it?
Ground. Oh,
ground meat. So over here we have right now 2 shoulders, and then this is the neck roast. Wow, that's slick. So I came to get our mail yesterday and kind of looked up the street and saw this lovely persimmon tree here. So this is an American persimmon. This is not an Asian persimmon. A lot of you who may have seen persimmons in the grocery store may be wondering why these are so tiny. That's because these are the wild persimmons that are native to our area. And I have one of these trees planted on our property. It's just really tiny right now, so it's not been bearing any fruit for the last couple years. I was over here yesterday, so there's not a whole bunch of them hanging out around here, but here's one. Looks like it's a little bit cracked open. This is okay. This is a good one. So at first glance, you might look at this and think, Heather, that's definitely overripe. And in a day or so, maybe, but this is exactly what we're looking for. Persimmons that look like this, that aren't quite shrivelly and dark, these persimmons are not good to eat. They have very high amounts of tannins inside the fruit, and you need to wait for those tannins to dissipate in order for them to be palatable. And I'm pretty sure it can cause like ulcers too if you ate too much tannin. So this one here is starting to look a little bit shrivelly. But see, it's not falling off of the tree very easy. So it's probably not ready, even though it looks shriveled up. So we've been scanning along the ground, looking for the ones that have fallen, because that's a pretty good indicator. If you see it on the ground, then it's probably ripe. Oh, see, this one's perfect. Can you see how it's like falling apart in my hand? It's essentially like custard. This is perfect. Does anyone know what these are? There's a lot of them over here. So I just picked these really wrinkly ones off of the tree, and I'm just gonna break it open. Give it a little bit of a taste. That's good. I've seen videos where people will pick the unripe fruits and let them ripen inside, either in like a paper bag with a banana in it or just out on the counter. I think it's called bledding. It's a very interesting word. We have a few fruit flies in our house right now, or else I would maybe attempt that. You could probably also ripen them in the refrigerator as well. I'm not exactly sure, but since this tree is literally right across the street from my house, I'll just come visit this every so often. They say that you can shake the branches of the tree and whichever fruit falls is ripe. I did that yesterday, and some of the fruit that fell, and I tasted it and it wasn't quite ready, so I'm just gonna let them naturally fall. That is, of course, unless I see some real good wrinkly ones like that. Yeah, it's good. All right, so I combined the persimmons that we picked today with the ones that I got yesterday, and it filled this, well, halfway up this gallon-sized bucket here. So that's quite a lot. They smell amazing. So it's kind of, the smell reminds me of apricots a lot, and the flavor reminds me a lot of like an apricot, kind of crossed with a guava, very tropical. So it's definitely a treat. I'm going to be processing the persimmons today using my new Foley food mill. I've never used this before, but I've seen people use them, and it seems like the easiest way to get the pulp out of the persimmons. So the persimmons have a really big seed. They have several really big seeds on the inside. Anywhere from like 4 to 7 of these really big seeds. Can't even barely get it out. See that? See how huge that is? And again, there could be up to 7 of them inside this little fruit. So it can be hard to get the lovely pulp out of here. And so our food mill is really going to be helpful. I have not washed these. You can. Some of these are so soft that I'm scared to even rinse them. So don't worry, these are just for us, and we do regularly just pick these up off of the ground and eat them without washing them, so it doesn't bother us. Do you ladies need something? Go in the barn, I'll be right there. Good girl. No, 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 no. No. So essentially what we did with the persimmons today was make a 1-ingredient freezer persimmon jam. So So we had about a half gallon's worth of persimmons and got almost 6 of those 4-ounce containers for the freezer, which is really awesome. And those fruits are absolutely sweet enough to where they don't need any added sugar. And so the puree would last probably about a week in the refrigerator and probably around 6 months to a year in the freezer. It's not gonna last that long for us, I know it. So a lot of you know that I have an impatient goat named Pepper, but besides that, back up. No, you're gonna break my door. Anyways, I have a milking machine and I really love it. It has made a huge difference in my quality of life because I do have some pretty persistent issues with one of my elbows. The motion of hand milking really does irritate the elbow, but it hasn't been too bad. I've been hand milking for 2 or 3 weeks now, but right now I'm only milking a couple girls. I have quite a few goats in milk. It's at least 5, but many of them have young kids on them, so they're gonna keep their mom's milk supply up, and I can just milk those that don't have babies on them. And when I have time to deal with an abundance of milk again, I can put their babies away at night and resume our kid share and probably resume machine milking. Oh, I need to tape your teats. Hold on. Margie is still nursing her, well, she's nursing her girls. Her little boy is in a different pen, but she had triplets in March. She's still nursing the girls that are with her. And so if it came to it and I wasn't able to milk Margie, I could leave the tape off, and her girls absolutely will still nurse. But I am trying to get a little bit more milk, so tape it is. You're a good girl, Margie. You're a good girl, Margie. This is just regular medical tape. It's a big roll that I break up into 3 different sections. Just gonna dance around a little bit while I try to show you because I undid the hobble. Hang on. Tape. I know, man. Margie. There we go. Goodness, goats are such creatures of habit. She knows normally when I take off the hobble that I let her down, but this time I've done things out of order, and so she's out of sorts. You saw me milking her just fine. She is really good at being milked. She's just not good when her routine changes, even the slightest bit. Talia! I haven't been milking Talia basically at all year. Talia was a first freshener this year. She had a single doeling named Breezy. I noticed that Breezy was growing really well, and I wanted to keep up her growth rate, that pace, because my hope was that she would be big enough to breed this fall. And I can confirm that she did get to be 80 pounds, which is my minimum for a standard size goat. Even though Breezy is a mini La Mancha, she's half La Mancha and half Nigerian. I wanted her to be really big when I bred her, just to reduce the risk or the likelihood of complications during birth this spring. So because Breezy had been nursing the whole time up until I removed her to go hang out with her boyfriend Farrell, her mama needs relieving every day. So we're getting to milk Talia, which is a really fun treat. I haven't done a lot of it. Got about 5 cups of milk out of the 2 of them. That's not bad considering how long ago they gave birth. You girls ready for hay? Back up, back up, back up. Don't knock that over.
so good.
Yeah.
Nice to see herself in
The
Holy
meat.
cow, yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
That is very good.
I'm glad.
That fat is delicious. Holy moly.
That's why I like that. I like it. I think I had the gummies in a
Holy
while.
crap, that crusty fat is really good. I just got to that.
These watermelon outside.
Watermelon.
Persimmons are really good. But when you eat them just as the fruit, it's a little bit cumbersome to have to try to eat like around the seeds. This is the way to do it. So I get asked all the time to present more rabbit recipes. I really don't do a whole lot special with my rabbit, and this is a good example. So we have a lot of this extra gravy from dinner tonight. There's probably at least a quart there. So what I'm gonna do is put that in the freezer, and then the next time I wanna make rabbit, I will thaw that out and cook the rabbit in the crock pot on low for 8 hours, and it'll be beautiful. If you guys have any questions about why we eat goat, or more specifically, why we eat the animals we love, I took a video about that sometime last year. If you're interested in learning more about our philosophies and things on that, go ahead and click this video.